Welcome to the party!
Last year, we compiled an iceberg chart for Gauntlet Dark Legacy, covering various nods and topics around the game and within the community. If you don't know what an iceberg chart is, it's a series of bullet points regarding a particular topic, charted according to their obscurity. Entries near the top are more commonly known, and the lower you get, the darker and less familiar things become. This iceberg isn't strict about being Dark Legacy themed. While primarily about Gauntlet Dark Legacy, it does extend into other aspects of the IP and the team that worked on it. It features mentions of gameplay, lore, and general trivia, and today, we are going to be going over the first 3 tiers. Most of the entries in this video you'll probably be familiar with, but I'm sure that there'll be a couple unfamiliar subjects as well. I want to give a huge thanks to these people for their contribution, as this iceberg would not be possible without them. We're also going to be skipping redundant entries, as well as combining ones that go hand in hand. Even so, we have a lot of ground to cover. This is Gauntlet Dark Legacy Iceberg Explained. Tier 1 contains a lot of surface information about the game and production material. I am sure that everybody is familiar with the majority of these entries. Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Gauntlet Dark Legacy is the 6th entry in the Gauntlet IP, produced by Midway Games West, and is an expansion to Gauntlet Legends. As seen in the previous game, a greedy young mage summons a demon in order to take control of the world, only for the demon to overpower him, causing Sumner to summon 4 mighty champions to defeat this evil demon Scorn and save the world. It was first released on arcade in 2000, ported to PlayStation 2 in 2001, and Xbox and Nintendo GameCube in 2002. Gauntlet 1 through 4. The first 4 Gauntlet games, also known as the Flanagan Gauntlets, feature 4 characters: Thor, Freya, Quester, and Merlin, as they fight their way through colored dungeons in search of treasure. The first Gauntlet on arcade was released in 1985 and was ported to Nintendo, NES, Commodore home computers, and was included in Midway Treasures for PlayStation 2. Scorn. The evil demon Scorn is the main antagonist in Gauntlet Legends and Dark Legacy. In lore, he is a lesser prince of hell with untamed desires for world domination. He was given his chance after connecting with the evil mage Garm, in which he was summoned into the overworld. Having defeated both Garm and Sumner, Scorn rules the Gauntlet world for nearly a decade, until his arrogancy paved the path for Sumner to gather heroes from the realms to defeat him. Using an artifact called the Soul Savior, the heroes banished Scorn back to the underworld, in which they followed him and destroyed him forever, to ensure he would never return. Scorn is the only being of darkness to properly establish a regime over the entire abandoned world. The 8 Realms. A realm, by definition, is a region officially under Sumner's protection, and is represented by a national element. While each realm is sovereign, they exist in an alliance and work together during times of crisis. At the time of Gauntlet Dark Legacy, the 8 realms are the Castle Stronghold, the Mountain Kingdom, the Desert Lands, the Forest Realm, Twinian Province, nicknamed the Forsaken Province during the Age of Scorn, the Ice Domain, the Dream World, and while a totally separate dimension, it has enough of a role in world affairs to be in the Realm Alliance. And the airspace controlled by the Knights of Sky and their fleet is also a realm known as the Sky Dominion. Gauntlet Dark Legacy Remaster. The Remaster project is a non-profit effort by a group of indie game developers to remake Gauntlet Dark Legacy in Unreal Engine 5. The project is alive today with an active Discord server and Patreon, both of which are linked in the description if you are interested in more details. Gauntlet Legends. Gauntlet Legends is the 5th addition to the Gauntlet franchise, and the first Gauntlet game to take place in 3D. Following the same plot as Dark Legacy, the original Gauntlet Legends features the Mountain Kingdom, Castle Stronghold, Forest Realm, Desert Lands, Desecrated Temple, and Underworld, as well as the 4 characters, Korik, Freya, Eowyn, and Cirrus. However, the console port of PS1 and Nintendo 64 brought with it new regions: Legacy Twinian Town, which is like Province and Sky combined, the Ice Domain, and the Battlegrounds. The Gauntlet Legends title was also given to the Dreamcast release, but this one is actually branched from Dark Legacy and features all 8 of its classes. Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. 7 Sorrows is the 7th entry in the Gauntlet franchise, and the last one associated with Midway Games. Released in 2007, it features the heroes Adalbranner, Ragnhidur, Aiden, and Modok, as they fight for the Lost Emperor and defeat his 6 advisors that have fallen to darkness. Just recently, the events of 7 Sorrows have been added to the Extended Universe continuity. taking place in the Temporian Empire, nearly 4,000 years before Dark Legacy. It is commonly mistaken as a sequel to the Midway Gauntlets, but this is a misconception. While not a bad experience, it is often left in Dark Legacy's shadow, with most of the community believing it failed to live up to its predecessor. Runestones. Runestones are a prominent collectible in Legends of Dark Legacy. They can be found across the game and are required to access the Underworld section. While the locations of runestones vary across the releases, a couple common themes are consistent, such as having 12 elemental stones and a 13th catalyst stone. In lore, runestones are essentially element power outlet, with each stone consistently producing the elemental energy of the matching emblem. When combined and conducted, runestones can be used to manipulate time and space, which is how the portals in Summer's Tower work. The concept of elemental runestones was invented by Archmage Rasha during the Elemental Reforms, and requires advanced understanding of all elements to conduct successfully. Guardians. The Guardians are the realm bosses seen in Legends and Dark Legacy. The 8 featured in Dark Legacy include the Terrifying Witch, the Mighty Dragon, the Fearsome Chimera, the Vile Plague Fiend, the Vicious Spider Queen, the Terrible Genie, the Vicious Yeti, and the Mysterious Shadow Wraith. In lore, each Guardian acts as Scorn's regional governor, and protects one of the keys to his stronghold. The Shadow Wraith is a little different, but we will get into that later on the iceberg. Atari Games. Atari is the publisher of the original Flanagan Gauntlets, as well as the original Gauntlet Legends. The Atari logo was also used by Midway in Arcade Dark Legacy, but was removed for console ports. Gauntlet 2014/Slayer Edition. In 2014, the new IP owner, Warner Bros. Interactive, attempted to reboot Gauntlet with a remake of Gauntlet 1. The game was criticized for being overly complicated for a Gauntlet game and lacking the original charm expected from the franchise. The game was re-released in 2017 as Gauntlet Slayer Edition, which improved some aspects of gameplay, but the general consensus remained unchanged. Warner Bros. Have yet to use the Gauntlet IP since the release of Slayer. The events of Slayer are not part of EU lore, or rather take place in the Flanagan Cage, which we'll get to. System of Balance. The System of Balance is an unspoken rule regarding Gauntlet's elements, in which every element has an equal number of sets and content under its umbrella. I explored this in detail in my video covering Gauntlet's elements. If you're interested in the details, that video will be linked in the description. Number stats. This refers to the stats of the characters that you can see. These stats increase with each level, and can be upgraded manually with gold. Alternative covers. Every version of Legends and Dark Legacy has unique box art. Some, like this Garm cover, are exclusive to certain regions. Shop and variations. Within the Midway Gauntlets, you can trade gold for power-ups. The content and pricing of these shops varies between releases. Garm. Garm is the greedy young mage that summoned the demon Scorn, triggering the plot of Legends of Dark Legacy. In Dark Legacy in particular, Garm returns and serves as the secondary antagonist. In lore, Garm is the younger brother of Sumner, and is known for being selfish, egotistical, and foolish, causing him to leave Sumner's side and move to the other side of the realm. Using a propaganda campaign, Garm was able to accumulate several loyal followers, which we call the Legion of Garm. After Scorn crushed him, Garm remained in the underworld for the entirety of the Age of Scorn, only for him to steal Scorn's power upon its defeat, prompting the heroes to traverse the temporal zone and defeat him once again. Cloud 9 Rage. While I personally cannot relate, level S9, or the Cloud 9 coin stage, is considered the most frustrating activity in all of Gauntlet. It is impossible to find a forum that talks about Gauntlet coin rooms that doesn't have someone mentioning their frustrations with this particular room. Red Chest. Also called Silver Chest, red chests are an uncommon spawn that contain a completely random item. If you have X-ray glasses, you can ultimately pick what item you want. Elements. Gauntlet's 4 elements are fire, lightning, acid, and light. Together, they allow life to exist, and can also be harnessed by certain individuals for combat or other general purposes. Inventory systems. Certain home ports of Gauntlet Legends and Dark Legacy have an inventory system in place, in which players can activate and deactivate items at will. There's the Console Legends format, which demonstrates the timer as well as a visual graphic of the item. Then there is the Dark Legacy one, which is just the item name displayed over the hub. GDL port bugs. I could do a video just on Dark Legacy's port bugs, but in short, GameCube and Xbox both have exclusive bugs that can disrupt gameplay, such as GameCube's Rev Zero's memory crash caused by picking up scrolls, or Xbox's infamous memory overflow. The North American PlayStation 2 release of Gauntlet Dark Legacy is the only console port that is mostly bug-free. Difference between builds. There are countless small differences between the various releases, from what characters the game has, to realms, to even a level layout. None are the same experience. I would argue Dark Legacy is the best experience, but Legends, as well as its console ports, have some exclusive content that's worth checking out if you haven't. Play types. The four main playstyles in Dark Legacy are the Melee Primes, the Armor Primes, the Magic Primes, and the Speed Primes. Melee Primes have amazing melee attacks, but terrible ranged. Speed Primes are the reverse. Armor Primes are balanced, or have a mix of both, and Magic Primes are ranged leaning, but have extremely good magic. Playstyles match with the element of the character. Realm Color. Realm Color is just a fancy term for the color of the crystals. Province is orange, mountain is red, castle is purple, sky is blue, forest is green, desert is yellow, ice is white, and dream is black. Realm Color is not related to the element system, and is considered a totally separate cataloging, albeit very close. If Castle used blue crystals and Sky used teal, then an argument could be made that Realm Color is part of the elemental sets. But due to these lightning realms breaking that rule, it is considered completely independent from elemental color. Gauntlet Fandom Wiki. The Gauntlet Fandom Wiki is, on the surface, an organized forum for those seeking information about the Gauntlet franchise. In truth, it is an unorganized mishmash of false information, blatantly obvious information, and interesting vandalism that we will get to in detail later. Since there are no moderators or seemingly anyone behind the scenes, the wiki is completely dead. There have been efforts by users to overhaul the pages with updated information and images, but none of their efforts appear to stick for long. I encourage everybody watching this video to take anything on the wiki with a grain of salt, or refrain from using it at all. Prima Strategy Guide. The Prima Guide for Gauntlet Dark Legacy is a very surface level look into how to complete the game. The most generous term I could use to describe it is incomplete. While it has some crude level maps and some rare artwork, I could say it's more of an interesting piece of Gauntlet history, more than it is actually useful. If you have even remedial knowledge of the game, I doubt this guide will teach you anything new. Boss Shards and Keys. Across the Legends releases, the boss keys, and later shard windows, are an iconic staple of Legends and Dark Legacy. These are dropped by the Guardians, and are required to access the Desecrated Temple, where the players will fight Scorn for the first time. In console, the keys are pieces of the stained glass window that form an image when completed. The most famous of these is Console Dark Legacies, with its iconic Guardian crest. The version you are seeing right now was created with the in-level shard pieces, and is the highest resolution that you can find. If anybody wants this, I'll put it on our Discord. Pojo. Pojo, originally implemented as a guest character in Gauntlet Legends, is a fire-breathing chicken from Midway's Mace. To play as Pojo, find this egg pickup, or set your name to Egg 911 on console. Despite starting as a guest character, the variant of Pojo in the Gauntlet world is a completely separate character with unique lore. In Mace, Pojo was a beautiful woman turned into a chicken by a witch. In Gauntlet, well, we'll get to that. Coin Rooms. Starting as bonus treasure rooms, the liminal coin rooms are the Legends and Dark Legacy equivalent of the treasure rooms from the Flanagan games, with one of them, S4, referencing them directly. In arcade, these rooms serve the same function, allowing players to compete for extra gold to spend on power-ups. In console, they were repurposed and used to unlock the Beast characters. Dolphin Emulator and Netplay. The Dolphin Emulator is considered the quote-unquote modern way to play Dark Legacy, and using Dolphin's built-in Netplay features, you can play the game online with friends. Controller types. This refers to the built-in controller configurations within Dark Legacy's menus. Configurations include Default, Arcade, and Robotron, to name a few. I personally play on the arcade configuration. r/Gauntlet. r/Gauntlet is the Gauntlet community's presence on Reddit. I've never been on it, so I can't say how active it is, but it is indeed a thing. Beast characters. The Beasts are unlockable variants of the 8 main heroes in the game. Beasts are unlocked by completing the coin room minigames, as mentioned earlier. The 8 Beasts in Dark Legacy are Medusa, Minotaur, Falconess, Unicorn, Tigress, Jackal, Ogre, and Hyena. Beasts have the same movesets as their hero counterparts, as well as improved stats, both visual and base stats. Familiars. Familiars are the little pets each character obtains when reaching level 30, and receives an upgrade at level 80. The Familiar fires a crystal when you use your ranged attack. The level 30 Familiar deals 25% of the damage of your projectiles, so 4 Familiar shots are equal to 1 of yours. The level 80 Familiar deals 75%. All Familiars behave the same, but have unique appearances and upgrades for each character. 2-player combos. Every character has a combo turbo, or 2-player combo. When standing next to another player, and you have at least some red in your turbo, pressing L2, or the left trigger equivalent, the character will perform an elemental attack involving both characters. Fan favorites include the Warrior's Pinball Legend and Dwarf Supercharge. Strife button. In console Dark Legacy, you can strafe sideways or backwards by holding L1, or the left bumper button. Your character will be locked in the direction you are facing. You can move side to side and even shoot during this state. Compass. The compass can be enabled in the pause menu and brings up this graphic. It can be useful for certain tests, like camera angles, but ultimately doesn't have much of an effect on gameplay. Summoner hints. On your first character on any given save file, Summoner will introduce game aspects as you encounter them, such as introducing items,
Yellow Wizard has super shot.
or general game advice.
Some chests may explode when opened.
You can also talk to Summoner in the tower for hints about collectibles or bosses. Food types. In arcade, all fruit is 50 health, and all meat is 100. But in console, every food gives a unique value. For fruit, cherries give 10 health, apples are 25, bananas are 50, pineapple and watermelon are both 75, and the poison apple takes 50 health. For meat, drumstick is 100, steak is 125, ribs are 150, ham is 200, the meal is 500, and poison meat takes 100. Special items. Special items grant temporary power-ups that can assist in gameplay. Some are weapons, and others provide helpful buffs, such as extra speed, or make you invisible. Just recently, we did a video ranking the special items on a tier list, so if you want more details on the specifics of each one, it's there if you're interested. Crystals. Crystals are in console Dark Legacy and are tied to the realm progression system. Collecting the right amount of any given crystal unlocks the realm of the corresponding color. The required amount of crystals increases by 25 for each realm, with Mountain Kingdom requiring 100 red and Dream requiring 250 black crystals. While most crystals are out in the open, some are slightly more hidden. Most colors allow you to miss a few, but black and white aren't perfect amounts, so missing a single one means you have to replay an entire level for it. But if you collect all of them, you won't have to. Speedrunning. Most of the Gauntlet games have a speedrunning community that is fairly active to this day. Most of the speedrunning community can be found on their official Discord, which is linked below. Playable Summoner. If you beat S5, or the Shadow Maze coin room, you get to play as Summoner himself. This route unlocks a completed save with max stats. But if you want to complete the game as Summoner, you can also set your name as Sum224 and play through the game as Summoner. Treasure types. There are various types of treasure pickups within the game. In console, junk gives 10 gold, silver gives 100, silver with gold gives 150, the small pile of gold is 200, the gold with gems, the one with the helmet and crown, is 250, the pile of gems is 300, the half barrel is 500, and the full barrel is 1000. The Mike coins are 500, the KJ coins are 1000, and the Bennett's coins are 5000. Red and Black Deaths. Known as Dungeon Reapers in lore, these two are drainer enemies. Red takes health, and Black takes XP. They can be defeated with magic potions, being shot 100 times, or with the anti-death pickup. Red Deaths leaves after taking 100 health, and Black Deaths leaves after taking 1 level. Golden Idols. Golden Idols are collectibles tied to the progression system. They are dropped by gargoyle enemies and can be found in hidden locations. Collecting enough Golden Idols opens the corresponding realm gate in Summoner's Tower. 12 golden snake fangs will open the west wing, 20 golden eagle feathers will open the east wing, and 28 golden lion claws will lower the floor, revealing the lower tower. Albeit, you still have to collect the corresponding crystals to get into any of the individual realms. Generals. Generals were introduced in arcade as secret playable characters, and in PS2 console port, they were made into a type of mini-boss. In 0.137, Generals lacked their charge mechanic, and simply walk. It wasn't until the final release of the game could the Generals charge at the player. If you're interested in the Generals' backstories, check out our video on the Generals' lore. Golems. Golems were the original mini-boss. First appearing in Arcade Legends, Golems appear as rocks or world terrain before being awoken by the player. Golems can deal radial slam attacks, as well as quicker melee attacks. Most golems have a dominant arm that can be destroyed, causing them to stomp instead. All golems behave the same, but have a distinct variant for each realm. In Dark Legacy, the Ice Domain uses a polar bear in use of its golem. Gargoyles. Gargoyles are advanced mini-bosses that were properly introduced in Gauntlet Dark Legacy console. Snake Guardians are acid-based and drop golden snake fangs. Eagles use lightning and drop golden eagle feathers. and lions are fire-based and drop golden claws. In lore, gargoyles are the spawn of the Chimera and were quick to spread across the world. While they cannot block, they are well armored, and armed with both an elemental breath and a ball projectile. Elite Grunts, also called secondary grunts or native grunts, these are the stronger set of enemies that appear in 1 to 2 levels per realm. They use unique generators and behaviors. In lore, most of these guys were pre-existing forces, or were an unintentional side effect by Scorn, or one of the Guardians. Red and green barrels. Colored barrels can be found throughout the game. Green barrels contain a poison gas that can cause damage to players and enemies. It can also turn food into its poison variant. Red barrels explode when opened, which can damage players and enemies as well as destroy nearby items and chests, turning them into unusable piles of ash. Turbo and half turbo names. Every turbo, half turbo, and 2-player combo have names, which Summoner introduces when the move is first used on a save file. Names include Fire Fissure, Wheel of Death, BFG, Acid Rain, and the Multiblade Arc, to name a few. Timed items last longer in boss fights. This is true, items that go off on a timer are cut in half in boss stages. However, ammo-based items like Super Shot and Thunderhammer are not affected. Tier 2 is more community content and recognizable figures in the fandom, as well as a couple of known lesser facts about the game. Most people that are active in the Gauntlet scene online are likely familiar with most of these entries. Gauntlet GBA is cursed. From messed up color schemes, to Summoner being an oppressive autocrat. The Game Boy Advance port for Dark Legacy is a weird trip. I can't really describe it, you just have to see it for yourself.
CyberNomadic engine, created by Stephen Bennett from scratch. CyberNomadic is the program in which all variants of Gauntlet Legends and Dark Legacy were constructed. CyberNomadic 1 was used to make Arcade Legends and Dark Legacy. CyberNomadic 2 was fixed to support limited consoles like PS1 and N64. Console Dark Legacy was built in CyberNomadic 3, and DC Legends has a custom variant we call the Sweat Branch. At the time of making this video, we have about 3 to 8% of the engine source code, which has allowed community members to design custom tools.
Ankle biters. Ankle biters are the little guys that crawl around on the ground. While I'm sure everyone is familiar with them, the term ankle biter is not seen in the game at all, and is reserved for the manuals, which is why they're probably in tier 2. SerafiniGaunt. SerafiniGaunt is the owner and top developer of the Gauntlet Dark Legacy Remaster project. While her activities on the server and with the general community are scarce, she is credited with reviving the Gauntlet fandom on the internet. Without her, this channel would likely not exist, and most of the Gauntlet hubs online can be traced back to her and her remastered Discord server. Xbox textures. The Xbox port of Dark Legacy claims to have superior graphics. I personally don't see it, and if anything, I think the graphics look slightly worse. But they are claiming that they are improved. Big Ape Productions. Big Ape is the company tasked with porting Gauntlet Dark Legacy to GameCube and Xbox, and it is who you can blame for the crap show that is the Rev Zero. I know a user that discovered Gauntlet on their journey through Big Ape's library, and according to them, Big Ape is known for this kind of lazy work, and it's nothing surprising. Dephasia84. Dephasia84, or Jeshi, is the little goofball that wrote this script and made this iceberg. To describe all his roles would take forever, but in short, he is a person that likes Gauntlet very much. Mikey. Mikey is an exclusive power-up added in GameCube, and can be placed down with your inventory. While active, grunts target him instead of players. Follow arrows. If you've played the arcade version of Legends of Dark Legacy, taking too long to progress in the level will prompt Summoner to say,
Follow arrows,
while showing you arrows that point toward the exit. All of these guide arrows are still present in the final console build. They can be triggered with the dev menu. Dephasia Cannon. Known as extended lore today, the Dephasia Canon started as Dephasia's personal headcanon regarding the world of Dark Legacy, but has since evolved into a community-wide and community-maintained project. Extended lore contains all hard canon concepts, as seen in the manuals and gameplay, and aims to build a universe around the concepts that Midway created. Right now, Extended lore has around 23 regular contributors, and range from explaining simple background assets to adding completely original characters and concepts. Extended lore is very vast and very complicated, and a lot of care is taken to ensure that all the entries follow the rules of the universe and don't contradict anything pre-established. It even has a couple OG developers that are semi-involved, which is what cements EU lore as a genuine continuity of the franchise. Because it is by far the most fleshed out, it is often the go-to when looking for Gauntlet-related lore questions. It is not the only canon recognized by the community, but it is by far the biggest and widely accepted regarding the Gauntlet world and how history played out. The Book of Bennett's. The Book of Bennett's serves as the starting place for EU lore, and today is considered a great beginner's guide to getting into the continuity. It covers everything about the original 8 realms as seen in the game, as well as the lore of the 8 Twilight realms, which is a completely separate continuity that we will mention more in a bit. The Book of Holm. The Book of Holm is, at the moment, an incomplete strategy guide that is designed to replace the Prima guide. The finished product is said to be compatible with every version of the game and contains everything from menu navigation to items to bugs and actual strategies. In other words, everything we know about Gauntlet's mechanics written in one massive encyclopedia. Drunk playthroughs. On YouTube, there is no shortage of people getting wasted and playing Gauntlet as wacky hijinks ensue. They vary in traffic and quality, but the overall experience is universal, and depending on your sense of humor, timeless. CyberNomadic and patches. CyberNomadic is the programmer that designed the majority of the 1.2 and 1.3 patches for GameCube. I've mentioned these patches before in my videos, but to summarize, they fix bugs, adjust features, and even restore lost content. The download and complete changelog of these patches can be found in the description. Cyber is also credited with repairing the GameCube dev menu, or what was left of it, and discovering several memory addresses used for advanced cheating. MosesofEgypt and Legend tools. MosesofEgypt is another programmer within the Gauntlet fandom, who was best known for creating the Legend Viewer and Crucible, which are tools that can process CyberNomadic map data and extract assets respectively. He also assisted CyberNomadic in the latest patch, helping to repair old Thor. Geisha Pool. Geisha Pool, at this point in time, is the official musician for the remake's music. He has done some genuinely cool covers of classic Gauntlet tunes, including the entire Forsaken Province, as well as the Altar of Scorn and Cloud9. His tracks can be found on his YouTube, which is linked below. Boyo003. Boyo is one of the top moderators of the speedrunning community. He runs the speedrunning Discord server and has some impressive runs of his own. We've exchanged notes in the past, and he was extremely helpful in the creation of the Ultimate Crystal Guide. Local Hero Buff. The Local Hero Buff is a damage increase given to the player when used in their home realm. We don't know the exact percentages of the buff, but it is certainly noticeable. While we had suspicions of its existence before, it was KJ Holm himself that confirmed its existence. Hey There Coffee and Godot Viewer. Hey There Coffee is a community member that is most known for the Godot Viewer, the WAD Dumper, and the VKN Extractor. All of these tools used to export Gauntlet's assets and convert them into usable formats. The most famous of these is the Godot Viewer, which can be used to view assets similar to Moses' Legend Viewer. Of the tools today, I would argue the VKN Extractor is the most relevant in 2025, as we still don't have an alternative for cracking the VKN sound files. The Gauntlet Lab. The Gauntlet Lab, or S1, is the Desert Realms coin room, found in level C2. It is a recreation of the Midway office, and includes several inside jokes and dev references, most of which are explained in greater detail on this iceberg. A while ago, I did a video in which I ID'd every dev in the level, and their general role in making the game. I assure you, this room will be brought up a lot more toward the bottom of the iceberg. Endgame postcards. If you've looked around Gauntlet Online, you've likely stumbled upon these vacation cards with the heroes. These displayed after completing the game on arcade, but were left in the files for console. Roach. Also known as just Tom, Roach is an indie animator and developer on the Remaster project. He is also the creator of the Gauntlet Dark Legacy Guardian add-on for Gary's mod.
Xbox texture bugs. This is referring to the texture overflow bug that can occur in the Xbox port of the game. I mentioned it earlier, but this is where it properly lands in the iceberg. It is rather rare, as most Xbox players have never experienced it, but it is certainly a thing that can happen.
I am recording this to make sure that there is no question this is not edited. That is a blood explosion.
GDL Beast promotion names. Every 10 levels, you promote in rank, and Summoner introduces it. While the Legends Group Beast Minotaur, Falconess, Tigress, and Jackal share the same rank names as the regular heroes, the Dark Legacy group beasts, Medusa, Unicorn, Ogre, and Hyena, have custom ranks. The beasts are the normal heroes. This is a fact in lore, where all the beast characters are the same in-universe characters as the regular heroes. Unicorn is Lionel the Knight, Minotaur is the warrior, etc. They unlock these forms by the compressed liminal energies of the coin spaces. Gauntlet. Gauntlet is a call and response Discord bot that contains a lot of basic trivia and links to Gauntlet related information. It is most commonly used for emulator setup guides and links to music and cutscenes. Rare Legends promos, merch, and trailers. A lot of Gauntlet Legends original marketing contained a lot of merch and promotional materials, such as these metal figures, this plaque, and some voiceover trailers, which is where we get the names of the Volcano Yorberus, as well as Arendelle for the castle stronghold.
Gauntlet Legends is an amazing 3D adventure through the most exciting game levels ever conceived. Each one a rich, lavishly themed, multi-level masterpiece. Players select from the warrior, Valkyrie, wizard, and archer, along with a host of secret characters such as the Minotaur and Jackal. Each character has unique strengths and a variety of powerful special moves that are available only to them.
Heretic Gaming. Heretic Gaming is a channel on YouTube that contains the complete soundtrack to Dark Legacy, as well as some exported cutscenes, and is likely the most popular source for these assets. Bomb face. This refers to how the clock and bomb icon in chest can look like a face, with the clock alarms looking like eyes and the blast looking like fringed hair. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. Legend character names. The Legend group, Warrior, Valkyrie, Archer, and Wizard all have canon names, which are in the manuals, as well as the character select in console Legends. Warrior is Korik, Valkyrie is Freya, Archer is Eowyn, and Wizard is Cirrus. The Dark Legacy group have names in Extended Universe, but nothing presented by the development team.
Scorn and Gorm shirts. During the original arcade contest in 2000, winners that finished the game would receive a t-shirt. Legends got this one Scorn, and Dark Legacy was this one with Gorm. Sadly, the contest ended before I was even born, unlike the guest narrator.
Princess Artemis maps. These are crude layout maps of the coin rooms, and contain a recommended path for single player. While imperfect, they certainly serve their purpose. Today, we mostly use actual renders that support multiple player count, but back in the day, the Artemis maps certainly helped a good few of us. Carnival Staff. The Carnival Staff are dream spirits that make up the Lost Carnival. Besides the Green Jester himself, the Carnival of the Lost level proves the existence of the characters known as the Barker.
Step right up, don't be shy.
The Clown. The Animal Handler. The Psychic.
For only $0.1, you can see into the future.
The Rat Boy.
See the rat boy.
The Bearded Lady.
See the bearded lady.
And Esbeg.
Hey, let me off this thing!
Extended lore also adds the Ling Reader, the Strongman, and the Acrobat.
You horrid good man!
The fact they all have KJ's face is another lore talking point I'll cover later. Joppy TV. Joppy TV is the owner of the Gauntlet Netplay Discord server, and has a video on YouTube explaining how to set up Netplay. Soundtrack variations. While most of the OSTs across the releases are the same, certain builds, especially N64 Legends, uses variations of songs or sometimes completely different music. (2001) Arcade Contest. We already mentioned the contest, but here are the details. To qualify, you had to beat the final boss of the respective game, then send in the code to Midway to receive your t-shirt. However, if you could prove your character was at level 99, you could get a chance to win an actual Dark Legacy machine. Secret characters. If you set your name to a specific combination, you can play as a secret character. Most of them are personal characters for the developers, such as Takeshi, Stig, and KJ. But you can also play as Realm Generals and Arc Wizards. Temporal Zone. The Temporal Zone is a region of the Gauntlet world that contains Summoner's Tower, the Battlegrounds, and the Desecrated Temple. It is a non-elemental region located toward the center of the continent. Ralph. Ralph is the moderator for the GameCube Forever forums. They are on this iceberg because of their personal collection of AR codes for Dark Legacy PAL. Because of mods like the 1.3 patch, the PAL build is less popular than the US Rev 1, but these codes certainly give it a relevance. Base stats. The base stats are hidden, locked values that each class uses for its stats. They are what keeps the game classes apart. So let's say we have a dwarf and an archer, both at level 99 with 999 speed. The archer will still be faster because she has a higher speed base stat. Base stats increase with level, but cannot be changed by the player. Arcade cutscenes. The arcade versions of Legends and Dark Legacy both have some pretty neat idle animations that loop before you insert your play tokens. Some of them made it to Dark Legacy console, and play after the Garm cutscene if you don't press start. But there are some, like this Knight and Sorceress gifts, that didn't. Flanagan heroes and their names. The Flanagan heroes are the characters seen in the original Flanagan Gauntlet titles. Thor is the warrior, Freya is the Valkyrie, Questor is the elf, and Merlin is the wizard. Merlin is also renamed to Mangus in Final Quest, which we'll talk about soon as well.
Arcade hero banners. In arcade, rank promotions take place on this little island, in which a banner of your character's crest hang in the corners. These banners make for great hero flags and can replace the stone weapon crests in console's level select.
Now we're getting into the stuff that involves more serious involvement in the community and the game files I'd be familiar with. Omama Shalan. This is a meme phrase used in the community, popularized by Mr. Acorn Pooley in Dark Legacy's lab.
Omama Shaling.
It doesn't really have a meaning, as far as we know, but is used as a multi-purpose positive phrase. Gauntlet Twilight of the Unseen. Gauntlet Twilight is an alternative lore canon designed by Dephasia84. In Gauntlet Twilight, the Gauntlet world has 16 realms instead of 8, as well as the corresponding characters and sub-elements. At this time, there is no way to experience Gauntlet Twilight outside of the narrative format. It contains everything from regular extended lore, but just as much has been added for its new kingdoms and characters. Like EU, Twilight's canon is open to submissions, and is also maintained by the community in a similar fashion. Popular realms from this canon include the Sea of Monsters, the Shinto Thicket, and the Clockwork Grid, to name a few. Jesh and Zach. I don't know who those guys are, but they would probably like this iceberg if they saw it. KJ Holm. I'm combining all the KJ stuff into one entry. KJ Holm is a developer for the original Gauntlet Legends and Dark Legacy branches, having assisted in every single build, even the mostly independent Dreamcast branch. He is the primary level designer, played a large role in boss AI, and was a major factor in making Gauntlet what we know and love. He is also the unofficial mascot of the dev team within the game, with his face showing up numerous times across the levels. Today, KJ is semi-active in the Gauntlet community, and his insights have proven extremely valuable to our understanding of the game, and the meaning behind many of the inside jokes. Without him, this iceberg likely wouldn't exist. The Organist. The Organist is the name of this man, seen in the Desecrated Temple. We know that because that's the name of his audio file. In lore, the Organist is the caretaker of the cathedral, and was held prisoner by Scorn for the 10 years he occupied the temple. He was the crafter of the Soul Savior that was used to banish Scorn from the realm. So while he died shortly after encountering the heroes, he ended up with the last laugh. Arcade dev paintings. In Arcade's J3, or the Haunted House, you can find these paintings of KJ Holm, Mike Halley, and Mark Pierce. These paintings were replaced in the console release, and were swapped for some modified stock images. Snake Pile. This refers to this particular spot in C1 where the snake ankle biters can get stuck and pile up. Touching this pile can be extremely dangerous, dealing hundreds of health points in a matter of seconds. It is advised to use a potion to clear the snake pile. Upgraded Legends cabinets. The vast majority of Dark Legacy arcade games that you will find in the wild are played on converted Legends cabinets. With the release of Arcade Dark Legacy, vendors could buy themselves an upgrade chip that replaces the Legends ROM with Dark Legacy. This way, you didn't need to buy a completely new machine to experience the new content. This is why Dark Legacy branded cabinets are very rare, because there was simply not that many produced in favor of this upgrading method. Shield boss drain glitch. This is a bug most prominent in Xbox, in which magic shields ignore their cooldown and deal damage on every possible frame. You can perform a variant of this glitch in every build, but Xbox will give you the best results, especially with multiple players. Legends Scorn lines. In console Legends, Scorn was voiced by John Seawright, and has distinct dialogue. In Dark Legacy, Scorn was voiced by Doug Lawrence, the same as Sumner. Stat glitch. This is a bug present in all default console builds. What happens is, starting a new character can erase purchased stats on another character. So here we have an archer that I have maxed for stats with the shop. And now if I save and start a new character, when I go back to the archer, all the stats I just bought were gone. This has been patched in most custom builds, like the 1.3, and has some AR codes to fix it. But if you're on physical hardware and have no way to mod your game, the best way to fix this is to go to each character and save. That way, everybody says level 1 instead of new. That way, you can start a new character and keep your stats. Fortress Basketball Hoop. In Console H3, you will find this little scene, and this iconic voice line.
Heads up play by Hallie. Ooh, but Peterson really lost his head.
According to KJ, this is an inside dev joke about how the team would play basketball. And KJ, in his own words, was quote, terrible. Additionally, there is an invisible chicken drumstick on top of KJ's head. Debug menus and modes. The PS2 build has this hidden debug menu that can be enabled with cheats. There is also True Dev mode, which happens when you boot the game with the cheat enabled. This mode provides extra details, such as hitboxes, as well as disables all XP caps. In GameCube, the UI elements of the menu have been removed, but CyberNomadic was able to reconstruct it into a workable state. It's not as functional as settings are set during character creation and cannot be enabled and disabled at will, but it is a thing. Liminal coin seals. This refers to the design of the coin room doors and their variants, and also how Beacon and Shadow Maze have pentagonal shaped doors for some reason, as opposed to the traditional square shape. The castle stronghold is a flying castle. This is a hard canon lore bit, as it is written in the manual. The castle stronghold is a floating island near the world's east coast. To explain how it got there is a long story, but in short, angel spawn like to be in the sky. Midway references. Beyond devs in the Gauntlet lab, Midway Games as a brand is referenced quite a few times within the game, such as S8 being a maze in the shape of the Midway logo, as well as the logo appearing in the Desert Land hieroglyphics. PS2 prototype and demo. Before the release of Dark Legacy on PS2, they released a demo build of the game, known as the .137 build. By default, the demo ends after the Forsaken Province and doesn't allow the players to continue past it. However, the build of the entire game is fully intact, and can be played in full by disabling demo mode via a hex editor. While very similar to the final build, some aspects are certainly different, such as placements of collectibles or general adjustments. Jessie has written a full changelog document of every noticeable difference between this build and the final PS2 release, which is linked in the description. This build also contains the before mentioned dev menu, and this exclusive asset viewer, Insidey. Better known as High-Octain Idea Guy in the community, Insidey is the curator of the Alt Tower project, and has their own lists of alternative classes and realms. Their concepts predate EU lore, or the organized way we implement canons, and were a big inspiration to get other projects going. Secret characters are the devs. I mentioned this earlier, but all of the secret characters that resemble real people represent the developers. Here are the list of the known developers. Arcade and prototype music. Some songs were replaced or changed when the game was ported to console. The most popular is arguably the original Alien Crop Circle song. The heroes lead their respective realms. If you've read the manual, you likely know that each hero is from one of the realms, but also, each one holds a high position of power. Sorceress is a Grand Witch, or member of the Coven Council, in Twinian Province. Korik is the newly appointed king of the Mountain Kingdom, after his father was killed in the first orc attack. Valkyrie's title is Princess of the Castle Stronghold, but actually acts as Regentess in place of Thane Macbeth, the last survivor of the royal family. Technically, she is the princess of the Valkyrie race in particular, not so much the Castle Stronghold. Sir Lionel was the second highest ranking survivor of the plague attack on the Knights of Sky, promoting him to Knight Commander. Eowyn is the best hunter and champion of the Forest Realm. And in Elven culture, warriors and skilled hunters have political power. Wizard was the Archmage of the Desert Magi at the time of the Jin attack. Hera was the highest ranking member of House Untar in the Ice Domain. He was crowned Dwarven King after slaying the Yeti. And finally, Jester claims to be the Major of the Dreamworld Carnival, which is about as much power one can obtain in the land without rules. He is also the Dreamworld Diplomat regarding world affairs. Terket Canon. This is a continuity/expansion by Green Drainer that introduces new classes of various origin, such as the Miner, Buster, and Raider. From what I understand, his project is still being worked on, and exists mostly independent from EU lore. Dev notation. In our videos, you likely have heard me refer to a level with a letter followed by a number, such as G1, B2, or J6. We call this system dev notation, which is how both the game and the development team refer to levels. The letter determines the realm, and are in the order of development, other than S and T, which are the coin rooms and test levels respectively. Most of the numbers are in order, like G1 being Fields, and G2 being Ghost Town. But some realms are out of order, mostly caused by the console exclusive levels, such as Mothership being K1 rather than K4, as would be expected. A decent chunk of the community use this notation as a way to shorten level names. We don't say 1-1 or 1-2 because that order varies heavily on the build, while the level IDs are consistent in every single depiction. B1 is always Valley of Fire, whether you're talking Arcade Legends to console Dark Legacy. Dev notation never changes. If you want to learn dev notation for yourself, there is a TXT file link below containing every level ID. Metal figures. I talked about this earlier, but to get into the details, there was this bag that contains the Legends heroes as well as Scorn, this Plague Trooper, which is my personal favorite, and the Jester bust, which was given to team members, and is understandably the hardest to find. There might be more, but these are the ones that I'm aware of. Legends lore. Gauntlet Legends, all of them, have their own extended canons similar to Dark Legacy's EU continuity. The Legends ones have significantly less entries, but they do in fact exist. Dark Legacy's EU does recognize the details of these alternate timelines as displayed in devlore, but the details of said timelines are kept up with in separately evolving continuities. Steve Scat Carson. Mr. Carson is the art director of Legends and Dark Legacy, and is responsible for Gauntlet's final concept designs for the characters and environments. He has one of the more memorable monitor screenshots, and his in-universe counterpart played an important role in devlore and the Dev Civil War. The Alt Hero Project. The Alt Hero Project, created by Dephasia84, is a collection of new characters from each realm. Each one has a fleshed out backstory and playstyle. While there is no way to play as these characters at the moment, they all have rather large roles in EU lore. The project also extends into the Twilight continuity, giving each of those realms another hero counterpart as well. Arcade enemy swaps. This is just saying that some levels in Arcade have different enemies than in the console release, such as the skeletons in Ghost Town, or these alternative underworld placements. Knights of Sky. The Knights of Sky is the faction that created the Skyships. The most notable of them is Sir Lionel, the Blue Knight seen in Dark Legacy. Their culture and history is worthy of its own video, but for now, I'll just say that they're passionate and very committed to the idea that their angelic heritage gives them a special place in society, as extensions of Cursed will, like I said, worthy of their own video. Texture packs. Using tools like Dolphin Emulator or PCSX2, you can easily use and create texture swaps for any game, including Dark Legacy. There are plenty of texture packs for this game floating around, including some that we've made ourselves. Links to our packs are in the description. PS1 dev titles. In the PS1 credit room, all the developers have a little, title in their name. The most famous is Will the Messiah Kerslake, which was used as evidence to tie Kerslake's character status as God of the Heavens in EU to true canon, which we'll talk about more later. Loyalist Project. The Loyalist project is yet another lore/potential game expansion by Dephasia84, which seeks to add a new mini-boss character to every level. Each one behaves differently and is uniquely triggered. Each one would have to be beaten in order to activate the portal to the realm's guardian. More notable entries include Parasite, the mother of the maggots found in G3, and the Mystic, a mage boss fight in C2 where halfway through she turns into a light-based cat gargoyle. The Loyalist project stretches into Twilight as well, such as the Shogun or Hornman. The complete Loyalist document is linked below. Bar and organ piano. I don't know why these are this low, but yes, in G2, you will find this piano in the bar, housing one of the craziest earworms in media history. And in G3, you will find this organ playing the Dreamworld theme. The file names for these two are Piano and Organ B, respectively. Archer fared familiar. This alludes to the fact that Archer's familiar is a tiny fairy and not a butterfly. He is also named Ariel, Journeyman of the Ultraworld. The Journeyman project is another lore/proposed game expansion that focuses on 8 original characters known as the Journeymen. These are people that got trapped in the liminal space coin levels and have learned to master the room's elemental power to a degree matched only by dev gods. The most relevant of these is the Cadet, the Journeyman for Space Station number 5, of which I will discuss more when I mention the Thunder Space War. This project also extends to the Twilight continuity, featuring characters such as the Bouncer and Mr. Tim, seen in the back streets and warehouse coin levels. PS2.wad. If you were to open up the disk content of the PS2 build, you'll notice that all of the assets have been compressed into a .wad file. This is unlike GC and Xbox, in which all the files are displayed openly in the disk. There are a couple tools you can use to crack the WAD, such as Hey There Coffee's WAD tool or Moses' Crucible tool. Dark Legacy was planned to be a sequel of Legends. Judging by how Legends Arcade ended, it looked like Dark Legacy was going to be a sequel to the events of Legends, with Garm being the main antagonist of the whole thing. But as we know, it was made into an expansion to Legends, featuring the same plot with Scorn, and adding the Garm content after the Scorn plot concluded. Arcade Dark Ice Water. The water in the ice domain is this dark color in arcade and is lighter in console. 346_gauntlet-dl.u37. This is a rather rare security file for the arcade gauntlets that is required to emulate Legends of Dark Legacy on modern builds of MAME. Most dumps of the ROMs online do not contain this file, rendering them unplayable in their direct format. However, copies of this file do exist, and you can find one online if you look hard enough. And that wraps up the first 3 tiers of the iceberg. Like and sub for part 2, in which we will cover tiers 4 through 6. I was originally going to do this entire iceberg as one video, but it was making me want to go insane. This way, making the video felt much more enticing. Once I cover all the tiers, I will be uploading all the parts merged together into one video. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know what your favorite entry was in the comments. And I hope to see you all again very soon. Fare thee well, heroes.